So you think you're conscious, huh? Well, there's an easy, straightforward test that you can actually conduct to confirm to yourself whether or not you actually are conscious or whether or not you've become religious. Big difference between consciousness and religiousness. Pay attention to my videos if you don't know the difference yet, but there is a very, very, very big difference. Now, in regards to this test of consciousness, all you have to ask yourself is, now that you are conscious, are you going to deal with the people who you dealt with before, who you'd rather not deal with now? That is it. Your answer will define whether or not you are conscious or not. As straightforward, as narrow, as dogmatic a question that is all one needs to ask themselves if they are seriously considering whether they are conscious or not. And if they are honest, someone who is conscious anyway would be honest with themselves. More honest than others can believe. I don't want to blaspheme by calling myself conscious. But as an observer, if I am judged for the observation, so be it. And one thing I have come to find is that it's going from my head now. The more conscious you are, the more honest with yourself you are. And the more honest you are with yourself in front of others too. So much so that people may think a lot of the time you're being sarcastic. Have you ever got that, anyone? Well, persevere, because it means you're going in the right direction. You see, the Matrix and most people in the Matrix will have you believe that you cannot be honest with yourself. They may not tell it to you, they may not spell it in those words I've mentioned, but they have an expectation of one, i.e. yourself, to not know thyself. And so when you become more and more conscious as the days go by, you'll find that you can be as completely honest about yourself and anything as you're so honest. You're not subjective anymore. You're just bang dead in the middle. You're just objective. In fact, you're not even in the middle. You're outside the room. I'd said before that if you don't judge, you'll be judged. And that's a consequence of the Matrix that we're in currently, 3D. So as you progress in your life and in your search for oneself, you'll find that, of course, because of your brutal honesty, you're going to have to ask yourself some hard questions. And of course, if you haven't thought of those questions, you need to think about them now. I was just reading an astrological report in regards to this supermoon, and I came across a term, VOC, void in course, or void of course, when the moon has no course, when it's in no man's land between the signs. And of course, the implications of such. I won't give any more information on that because I like people to look up stuff for themselves too. And one thing you have to really know at any time, doesn't matter what time of the year or what time in the universe, you always have to ask yourself, can you deal with the people you'd rather not deal with? If your answer is no, I'm sorry to say you're not as conscious as you thought you were. If your answer is yes, now the next job is to decide and define a healthy relationship with strangers, with intimate family, whoever it may be. Because as a light worker, which we all have the potential to be, so someone who is conscious, as a light worker, you have to raise the others up. It's no good being like, for example, the religious people who will find their faith and find their dogma, find their perfection, and they just want to share it with like-minded people. They've missed the point. The whole point of us receiving something from the higher levels is to disseminate it and to help others receive it too here. Not to leave them and function only with people who are like-minded, etc. That's not consciousness, that's religion. Even with your intimate partners, my folks, be it your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. But I like to stick to the term partner because that's a bit more neutral. All this husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, it just shows our ownership and our mentality in regards to relationships, which is very, very obsolete now. Anyway, you are an indigo baby, for example, and you think because of your unique purpose here, although all purposes are unique, but because of your unique purpose, you have to get with another indigo or someone who understands you better, right? Because life would be easier. The grass always does seem greener on the other side, but I can tell you 9 times out of 10 it's not. And so never ever feel as you're getting more and more into consciousness that you now need to be dealing with people on the same standard with you. Quite the opposite. You need to be going back down. Think of a burning building. You have to go in to get everyone. There's no good saving yourself. You won't gain anything. That's what Jesus meant when he said, what is the worth of gaining everything in the world if you lose your soul? And that is simply why bother striving for self-perfection and yet you leave the others to be. You become a snob. You become religious. People think about that statement Jesus made in terms of money and material. Nah. He was talking about your soul. That is our soul. So if I am more conscious than the person next to me, or if I know something which would be or could be of benefit to somebody else, if I don't share it, if I don't help them so I can help myself, then no one is helped, me included. That's what that statement means if it's not wrapped your head already. So take heed of my ramblings. Just know that chances are if you are a light worker or an indigo or you have a special mission, as we all do, but you know what I mean when I say special, if you have that calling, if you have certain things about you which other people cannot appreciate, therefore being chosen in a sense, chances are you're going to be with people, be it at home, be it at your workplace, be it wherever you function in life. You're going to find people who are the complete opposite with you. And it's not by happenstance. It's not because you're unfortunate or unlucky. It's because of the matrix, the puzzle. The matrix is part of the puzzle. So it wouldn't make sense for 2 enlightened people to function together, would it? Rather, it would make more sense for an enlightened person to function with an unenlightened person. This is life. So always appreciate the people you have in your life, whether they rub you the wrong way or not. And just remember that as you are in their life for a purpose, they are in your life for a purpose. So it's not just about you. You can gain things from the others too. A lot of people like to think on this conscious level that somehow they are better than the others and those who are asleep are no good. But you'll find, in fact, those who are asleep may think they are awake and you're asleep. It's all about perception at the end of the day, and everyone is in a different place with a different job to fulfill. But don't become religious in thinking that your way is right and people need to function on your level, and those who don't or don't understand your level are somehow defunct. That is the wrong way to think about it. If you think like that and you thought you were conscious, wait more time because you're not conscious yet.